I didn't know what hockey was till I was 16. I went to my best friend. I grew up in California. I said, "Hey, who's this Wayne Gretzky guy?" I was all excited about. At the time, the Kings had Wayne Gretzky for about 2 years at that point. And he's like, "You didn't know who Wayne Gretzky is?" I'm like, "Dude, I have no idea." He's like, "We have to go to Canada for Christmas." So the first time I played hockey was on a pond in Canada. My face froze in a smile. I fell in love with the sport. On our way home, he said, "You have to pick a team." And so I did my research and I picked the Boston Bruins. The first black hockey player in the NHL played for the Boston Bruins, Willie O'Ree, number 22. And so then I saved up and I bought my own hockey equipment. And I went to my mom and said, "Hey, I want to play hockey." And she said, "I did the research and I can't afford for you to play hockey, but I can get you into 2 different ice hockey clinics." So I did those 2 hockey clinics, and that was the end of my hockey career. And then we fast forward to me being an adult and playing on an adult hockey team. And it was such an amazing experience. I loved it, and I wanted that for everybody. And I thought, wow, wouldn't have been cool if I could have played hockey as a kid? How much better would I be now? And that's what I wanted to make sure that kids have that opportunity to have those experiences and make those lifelong friends through hockey.
So, you having fun yet?
Welcome to this episode of the Late Game Podcast. I am co-creator, actor, producer Jeffrey M. Zucker, along with co-creator, writer, director, editor Jeff Tyner. How's it going?
Beautiful day. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, doing well. Sleepy. Some awake kids last night, but making it through.
There you go. Got a decent night's sleep.
Glad to hear that. And, especially after we played last night and, sometimes it's hard to sleep after we play. Fortunately, it wasn't crazy late game, if you will. And last week, you were just getting back from your trip. I hadn't played in a while, so we're kind of easing back into it. How are you feeling going into the game this week?
Felt better. It was a pretty chill, even pace from the other team too. They only had 7 guys, so I feel like early on settled into kind of a relaxed pace. Like it could pick up in a few spurts, but like I really appreciated that. So as a result, I did not feel nearly as gassed as some previous games. Specifically, my last Wednesday game was really tough on me. I liked it. I think all the way around felt pretty good. We had a nice in control pretty much the whole time win, but like still close enough to make it fun. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, you played well. I think it was an 8-5 win. You had that empty netter.
I want to say it was 7-3, but either way,
well,
yeah, that sounds right.
It was one of those.
It was in there somewhere.
Somewhere in that range, and shows how much it matters. But you had some really sweet plays, and I do need to take a shit all over myself. I somehow, for the second week in a row, for the first time in my life, forgot my sticks, and it was frustrating and embarrassing enough the first time. And then on the way there, when I realized it, I had been thinking specifically walking to the car, like, all right, I can't forget my sticks. And then somehow it just happens again. And yeah, next time, there's no way I'm going to become a Kevin and not bring a stick 3 games in a row. I'm just not going to allow that to happen. But it felt very stupid. Fortunately, sticks are one of the easier things to borrow, but not using your stick is also annoying and sucks. And, last week I used Bo's stick, which is a little short. Yours I used yesterday. It was quite long for me. You've got a very long stick, my friend. And there were a few times where I had opportunities where, at the very least, I like to think I would have scored if I'd had my stick, but there were at least 2 things I can think of where I kind of had some control and tried to make a move around someone, and using the wrong, not having my stick just definitely fucked me.
Definitely handicapped. I think that's fair to say. You had one really good play in tight where you went to go to your backhand. It was just a really good poke check by the goalie. That goalie was pretty good, all things considered. No, it could have been. Maybe you would have been a little more agile with it, but it was a good poke check, so it's not like you just flub the puck or anything. So definitely difficult to do. I would complain every shift if I was using another stick, so I get it.
I preferred the short one to the long one.
That's fair. I don't know. For me, I would almost want something totally different than just a different enough curve to fuck me up. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'd rather be conscious to how different it is than like think I have my stick until I shoot and it's just worthless. But neither's great, so
I did have a couple of flub shots too. Certainly because like that team wasn't very good. Like,
so you had my favorite moment of the game, and it was very John Calamino, where it was a really quiet game. Like there would be just long stretches of just nothing, just the sound of the skates, and that's it. And you were covering on D for somebody, for a defenseman who had jumped up forward, so you're at the point, and the puck just like happens to redirect to you or something. So I just hear you from the pitch go, "Oh fuck," and like just try to like throw. Just I could see it in your eyes, like I got to do the safe play and just get it deep. But in that moment, like rush the shot a little bit, it hits someone in front, and just like god damn, like I can hear your. It's so true to the ADR session we did for you when you have your shot in the first period of the late game, where it's like oh fuck, just it was poetry. It was beautiful.
and some of that was from the original too. I think at least I was copying it. But yes, I appreciate that. I do try to like laugh at myself when I'm out there because that's just that just makes me feel less dumb, I guess, when I do something stupid. I mean, the number one thing I noticed though is like everybody feels this way about their play pretty much, and like no one else really notices if you fuck up unless it's really bad.
Yeah, but also it's like I'll take that 100 times out of 100 over getting mad. Like, and I'll get mad at like a bad pass or something. I'll be like, damn it. But like, it's the taking it to the bench and throwing shit around and being like, oh, get it the fuck together. Like, no one wants to hear that. So it's like, if you're just going to be like, okay, I fucked up, laugh it off. Like, that's a very acceptable way to handle it.
Yeah, I definitely don't like to play with players that, give you shit when you fuck up. It's like I give myself enough shit. And like usually, most people are like apologetic. They come on the bench like, "Oh man, sorry I missed that pass" or whatever, and like I do the same thing. But usually, I'm like, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, that's kind of my blanket response, unless it's like it was towards the end of the shift and I just got off. I was like, okay, I remember that one. But if it's like I'm like a goldfish, if it's even 10 seconds prior to that, it's gone.
You have to be because if you get like too stuck in your head playing, like you get out of the game.
That was a fun game though, because we had the magic number of 10, so I feel like it keeps you in the game, but it wasn't super rushed pace, so it was like a small step up from like pickup in a way, and I had a good time.
Yeah, it was nice sticking to the two set lines. When the extra guy showed up, I didn't realize he was going on D, so I wasn't changing well because I was like, didn't we get mixed up? Did we not? And then I eventually figured it out.
Yeah, me and Reese got a little out of sync, which I liked because it gave me a chance to play with both sets of wingers, i.e. you, and we feel like snuck a scoring chance in there on our limited time on the ice, but no, it was a fun time.
I think I initiated that mix up because I had this one shift that at least in my head was just horrible, and I like dropped the stick at the end of it and like couldn't get it. I was like, I just got to get the fuck off the ice, and I hadn't been out there long, and then Wade came out and just threw everything off.
Yeah, I think you missed like 3 times in picking the stick up, and then it was blown off sides. And I've been there. It's like when something like that happens, regardless of time on ice, I just want to get the fuck off.
Yes, that's how I felt. So it was a fun game though overall, and I'm going to be out for our Friday skate this week, unfortunately. So yeah, hopefully back on with the team on Monday. Do you have a midweek game this week?
No, and I was off this past Sunday too, so I've been in a bit of a Pizza Boys hiatus. But I think we're starting playoffs on the weekday team, and we are starting the playoffs on the Sunday team. So that lined up.
Nice. Well, good luck with that. I'm certainly looking forward to getting back out there. And, I mentioned last time on the podcast that we haven't talked about our merch enough, so I'm going to plug it real quick for people to go to store.thelategame.com, or you can just go to thelategame.com and find your way to the store. We've got some really, jerseys, shirts, etc., and our hats that are really sweet will be on there soon. But, if you want a hat in the meantime that you see in one of our videos or on our Instagram, etc., feel free to email me, the letter Z, at thelategame.com, and we'll make it happen. And yeah, we would really appreciate any support. I mean, the poster you mentioned earlier to me, you're going to see John Embry tonight, the artist that did our poster. He's in town. God, he deserves all the praise imaginable. And I know we've said it plenty on this, but go out and buy that poster, not just for us, but for John.
100%. Like I can't believe we're not selling more of those. I think the shirts are fun. The hoodies are fun. We're inching towards hoodie weather, so hopefully those can see an uptick. And we'll have some more stuff to come. But yeah, the hats are especially badass. So I think people got to get on those.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean we're not making it easy on them, but that's all right because we want the biggest fans to get the hats first. We did a small run,
and still plug the jerseys too. The jerseys are dope, and people always are pumped to see them.
Yeah. So I just had the thought, we've talked about on the last show at least that September 10th will finally be available in Canada for rent and purchase on Apple TV. Super pumped about that, and I think that this is a moment to at least the deep core that listens to the podcast to tell them that on September 12th, we're going to do an event in the Toronto area at the Scotiabank Pond. Time is to be determined, but it'll be kind of a meet and greet with us, some of the cast, likely including Zach Bell. Maybe we'll get some other names there as well. You and I will be there. Sean Shapiro will be there. Tyler Durham will be there. And, hope everybody comes out to the pond and meets us. We get to celebrate that the movie's available in Canada.
I can't wait. It's a long time coming, a lot of hard work from you. And I am so stoked to get it, into hockey's backyard. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited, nervous, to really get it into this hockey world, but mostly just hopeful. And yeah, I think Canadians will appreciate what we've put out.
A bit of an exotic locale for Canadians too, and we make a good effort to set the movie in South Carolina, so that could be informative as well to get a little taste of hockey down south.
Yes, definitely. And speaking of watching things, what have you been watching lately?
Well, we saw it separately, but I did see Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know if we've talked about it. Maybe I might have mentioned it last week, but saw it again. And then that has led Megan and I down the X-Men sort of wormhole. I'd seen the first two movies back in the day, but I don't think I saw another one after those first two. And those are the two we've watched so far. They've been a lot of fun. They've been really good. I'm excited to watch more of them. Just Hugh Jackman. He's such a delightful person. He's really not that I needed reminding of it, but I've been Megan and I just watched him and Ryan Reynolds were on with Gordon Ramsay and his daughter doing like a chimichanga cook off, and it was 15 minutes of it was just silly, that was a fun mix. Sometimes those cross promotion team ups don't work, but I think Gordon Ramsay was on the right level for them. I think he got what the objective was, so that was really fun to watch. I think that's it. I don't think I've watched anything much else since last week. Like I said, watched a good bit of movies on the vacation, but I've kept it pretty chill since. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, as you know, I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, really enjoyed it. Thought it was really fun and doesn't take itself too seriously. Kind of, in a classic Marvel movie type of way. I think they've gotten away from, in terms of just being silly in a good way. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I also, I get fed a lot of deep fan things for Star Wars and Marvel and stuff on my Facebook feed. And so I was reading that apparently the original story, involved them fighting Kang together, but since they're writing Kang out of the story, that they just completely turned it on its head. And I thought that was interesting.
Now that you say that, I can definitely see the sort of fingerprint of that on there. Not to get too spoilery, but dealing with the Void and the light Loki kind of tie-ins to things. I could definitely see that being the case. It was just a really good shot in the arm for someone like me who has watched so little post Endgame. I've wanted to, and it's just, I'm not keen on hating on things just to hate on them, but it does seem a lot of tedious homework you have to do. And that's the thing is you don't want to watching things to feel like work, So this was just fun. And what I love about it is that you could walk into that movie cold. And I think anecdotally, everyone knows enough about Wolverine and Deadpool, just the way they show up in marketing alone, that you really could just walk into that one with no prior knowledge and then be thoroughly entertained.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, and I know Marvel has now like agreed that they've made too much stuff. There's been a glut, and I feel like they've done a okay job, and definitely they're trying really hard to tell people like you don't have to watch it all. It's just like for people that want to dig in further. So I think this movie was a good sort of reminder of that, and we'll see if they stick into this fun area or if it's just like because it was Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman that it was so fun. Like,
dude, yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Like I read some yesterday about just like the marketing machine that has made this, and like just everyone knowing who Deadpool and Wolverine are does a lot of heavy lifting. But like, I guess Ryan Reynolds' production company, Maximum Effort, like Marvel, kind of like relinquished the reins to them for marketing this particular movie, and like Ryan Reynolds just like he's got his hand in everything, like, and he's just a really fucking smart dude. So like it was maybe maybe it's an outlier just because of the people involved, but like it would be interesting to see if that changes the way movies are marketed to any degree.
yeah, Reynolds certainly seems like a hustler, like one of those guys that isn't just a movie star. Like he's capitalized on the opportunities he's had, on the investments he's been able to make, and certainly, and just like Deadpool's like the kind of thing that'd be so fun to be a part of making.
Oh man, yeah, it just seems like a really good vibe on set, even for it being the biggest stage, huge budget. And what I read too is that they, I guess, rejected the like Ryan Reynolds team. They had said no to the first budget proposal from Marvel because it was too much, and they were worried about that stunting their creativity if they can just plug every little VFX thing in. So they countered for less money to tell the story they want to tell, which I just think is super fucking awesome. And it's still a huge budget, sure, but like for a Marvel movie, anytime someone's saying give us less, I mean that's enough to raise some eyebrows.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. In terms of other watching, I started the fourth and final season of Umbrella Academy, and I recall enjoying the first three seasons very much. I think I've watched 2 episodes so far, and like I thought they've been fine, but I do see that there's a lot of backlash of fans of the first 3 seasons saying it's a huge deviation and they've ruined it. So that still makes me curious to see the rest of it. But
I never watched that show. My brother really liked it though.
yeah, I mean, if the 4th season ends up as bad as people are saying, then I don't know if I'll be able to suggest it, but the first 3 were solid.
I'm surprised. You don't see Netflix handing out 4th seasons of many things. That is a Netflix original, right? Or does it just live there?
I believe it's a Netflix original.
Yeah, they're not shelling out season 4s for too many things, so it's a bummer to hear that it's not well received, just for the ripple effect. That probably means, yeah, less season 4s moving forward in general. I don't think that's a good thing for TV.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love the depth of stories that go on for a while, and like, the business Netflix perspective is like we'd rather have a few shows that you watch a few seasons of, because then they don't just have to keep the diehards on board; they can keep peddling new shit, and you certainly lose a little bit of the art in that.
I would die for another Mindhunter season. The shit was so fun.
I still gotta watch it. I've been saving it because everybody talks it up so much.
It's so good, man. Like, yeah, Megan and I burned through that not too long ago just for like another watch, and God, yeah, no, that shit was dope. And like I've heard people say a season 3 wouldn't work because like so they keep setting up the BTK killer as like in just these little cold opens, and that's the only taste of him you get, so implying that season 3 would be about this guy. But then other people are like, well, that's the 90s, so you couldn't do it. And I'm just like, well, you can just make these made up characters older and it's fine. Like it's not it's not the end of the world. So I don't know. It doesn't. I think Fincher's spoken on it a lot that like it's just not going to happen, which is heartbreaking.
Well, we'll still cross our fingers. And today's episode we're doing a double interview. First up, we have Rachel High, the first assistant director on our set. Came in planning to be on the camera team, but took a role that we really needed filled.
Oh, just we've had linchpin for Finn. We've had glue for Rizzo. It seems derogatory to call her the parent that we needed of the set, but like, I'm not going to call her like the den mother of the set either, but she was Rachel and she was everything we needed. And we say this often and it's true with a small crew. We literally could not have done it without her. So it was fun to catch up. we got to see her for the friends and family. I mean, the cast and crew screening, and just always warm, always bubbly, just like a burst of positivity. We had so many great people on set, and she is very much at the forefront of that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. She was crucial, and set changed tremendously, a few days in when she showed up and helped us be more organized and just making sure we were staying on track. And just, all those late nights together, figuring out what we were going to do the next day to make use of our time properly. She was a huge part of that. So I'm excited to share that interview, and, stick around afterwards. We're also interviewing Stephen Barnes of the incredible organization Hockey Unlimited. Here is Rachel High, second assistant director on The Late Game and associate producer. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. I know I personally struggle with comparing myself to others, especially in the social media world. Therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. Therapy has been tremendously beneficial to me, and I think it can help most people, traumatized or not, be the best versions of themselves. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/THPN today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/THPN. Rachel, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too. How are y'all?
Doing super. It's much better to see you. It's been too long.
I know. I'm glad we're meeting up.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And what's going on? I mean, let's start with what you think of The Late Game now that it's out after having worked on it. We haven't really talked about it a lot.
I know. Yeah, it's honestly, it was just such a fun experience. And just being part of The Late Game was so much fun. It was kind of like wrangling cats, or like hurling cats. Yeah. It was a lot of fun, and I made my dad and my sister watch it the other day with me. So it was really cool, like seeing all of our hard work come together up on the big screen. So yeah, I mean, it was an awesome experience. Yeah.
With all honesty, what did they have to say after they watched it?
They loved it. They liked it. They were a little confused because no one in my family is like a big hockey person, and I'm like the only one who's a hockey person, and even then I still don't understand the game completely. But I love hockey, and I showed it to my dad and my sister, and they were a little confused, but they thought it was funny. So they enjoyed it. Yeah, they enjoyed it. They didn't understand the sports stuff, but they loved all of the comedic bits and characters and all that. So it was great.
I love that you're a self-described hockey person now. I love that.
I was gonna ask.
We're gonna.
So pre Late Game, before we did The Late Game, if I came up to you and asked about your relationship to hockey, what would you have said?
I would have said I love hockey. I've been to 2 games in my entire life. I still don't understand what's going on fully, but I love the energy, and I love just how fast everything is, and I love it. So I would still be asking you questions in the crowd, but I would enjoy it the whole time.
I like it. But now, since The Late Game, has that increased?
I think it definitely has. When we did the premiere in the spring this year, we all went to the hockey game in South Carolina, and then I also went to one in Georgia, and I've been wanting to go to another game recently, so it's just climbing up. It's increasing.
Yeah, you and Zoe went to a game, right? Was that an SPHL game?
Yeah, Zoe and I went to a game together.
That's
yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
That's awesome. We're always glad to bring new hockey fans in the fold, even if you think you liked it before. Like, now you have an itch for it.
Exactly. And it's just something about the energy and the crowd and all of it. It's so much fun.
Well, when you came on set, I think we were like a few days into the shoot, and I think you showed up to be second AC, but we ended up making you second AD. So first, can you just explain that in non-film terms for the uninitiated, and then would love to talk about that process.
Yeah, absolutely. So a second AC is someone who's a camera assistant, and they're second in line. So there's a first camera assistant and a second camera assistant. So your first camera assistant will help set up the camera, pull focus. We don't think about that anymore on our phones and autofocus and all of that. But with film, you do it manually. So your second assistant camera helps you also set up the camera, helps swing lenses, help have any troubleshooting issues with transmitters, receivers, helps you, put the camera on a new rig and all that stuff. So the second ACs kind of do a lot of the physical grunt work, and the first ACs do a lot of the mental work. So that's kind of in layman's terms, but it's all just helping the camera operator.
Yeah, and so you came in, expecting to be on the camera team. What you usually work on, what we really needed was a second AD, a second assistant director. And, you valiantly stepped into that role, even though it wasn't what you showed up to do. We can't be more thankful for that. And yeah, I just wanted to see what you thought when you showed up to that.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was just thinking about it. So I was asked to come onto the project with a friend, Jeff Van Gerwen. I worked with him a few years ago in Louisiana on a little short film. And he told me about going up to South Carolina and being a camera assistant. I was like, yeah, absolutely. And a few days before, something came up on my end because I live in Atlanta. I'm an operator now, and something came up. And they had to find someone to replace me for a few days. And so when I came up, I was still under the impression that I would just jump in. And I remember having a conversation with Jeff Van Gerwen, and I think it might have been you, Zucker, being like, we really love our second AC Corey that we brought on. Like, he's just flowing well with the team. And, I remember you guys saying you're still welcome to be part of the camera team if you'd like to. But I've been on enough productions to where if there are too many people in one department, then that's going to be a really strong wheelhouse, but then other things will be falling apart a little bit. And so knowing that I was working with a bunch of friends like Zoe and Jacob and you guys now, knowing that I was more flexible and more concerned about just making the project get stronger. I was like, yeah, I'm in the camera department, but you know what? I'm working with friends, and I'd rather just help you guys. And y'all were like, we need an assistant director. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So it was a fun experience. It was very good learning experience.
You kept us in line. We needed you.
Yeah, that was your top job, was kind of yelling at people and trying to get them places.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was like I said, it was kind of just wrangling cats and working with non-actors and kind of humbling myself into the role and reminding myself, we don't have actors on set, they're all still learning, and kind of reminding myself that. But going into it and seeing how much passion you guys had for the project and for the story, and how much the guys wanted to be there and just they were trying to figure it all out, it just made me realize more okay, I'm just here to help in the best way that I can. And if it is laying down the law a little bit, then I'll do it. And if it is backing up a little bit, then I'll do it as well. So it was so much fun, and I learned a lot. And you guys are my boys, so I loved it.
We loved having you.
Absolutely. We just appreciate you doing that, and just kind of getting the vibe, that it's just kind of a scrappy thing where everybody's just pulling their weight. And, we had the three of us, along with Rizzo and Finn, had some very long nights after everybody was gone. I don't know if you recall the day that it was 6 a.m. and the figure skaters started coming in, so we never locked up the place.
Yeah, it was honestly that's not unheard of in the film industry, but just with the budget and all of our experience, I honestly kind of loved it. I was like, I kind of loved it. I don't know why.
It was a pure adrenaline rush for 2+ weeks, honestly. So yeah, for me, it was I was talking to someone about it recently. I don't often get the time to stop my life from pretty much everything other than a single project. It might be the only time in my life I've done that. And I know it's something that happens in film a fair amount. You kind of get to go project to project. So for me, getting to dive in for that long was just like really, really rewarding.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's so much more work than you realize. I mean, it's a lot more work than you realize. I mean, how's it been for you guys? Just like the learning curve and all of that, and Tyner, your first time directing and all of that.
It was tough, but a blast. Like, I've heard a lot of people kind of say when they see a first time director, like, a common outcome is I never want to do this again, but I'm the exact opposite. Like, this is all I want to do. And editing was probably, I don't know, the anxiety and pressure of directing was a little more compacted into that 2 week span, but like the long marathon of anxiety editing was a different boat too. But I'm glad I got to go the distance. Like, you can't learn more in a shorter amount of time than doing it. So just it was a dream come true, and just met so many awesome people like you, Zoe, Finn, Corey, Seth. I mean, literally every go all the way down the credits, and just I couldn't count on that many awesome people joining up with us.
Hold for Susan.
Hold for Susan.
Hold for Susan.
I couldn't get it through cast names or with cast and crew names without mentioning Susan. So
very fair.
Of course, absolutely. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, for me, I mean, it was really cool to be able to dive in and like just that it's all been awesome, but certainly the height of it, I would say, was the shoot for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was just so fun filming in an ice skating rink. That's something that was new to me. And we had an amazing G&E team, and one of our riggers helped build, the ice dolly. And it's just like, that's what's really cool about film, is that you create things that are going to work for your environment. So we made a wooden pallet, a little rig, to make the camera slide onto the ice. And instead of trying to find the most expensive equipment, we got, hockey pucks and a little slab of wood and a little railing, and then Dalton figured it out. So props to him. I mean, that's what's exciting about movie magic, is no matter how professional it looks, behind the scenes stuff is things you can just make at home and figure it out. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Dalton really
definitely
crushed it with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love the effort that, went into like just figuring things out. It was certainly a magical group. We've talked about it on a few different episodes with a few people involved, and yeah, it seems to be unanimous. I mean, people also, maybe give us a little bit rosier, but it seems unanimously positive. So
yeah, definitely.
So, all right, you came and worked on our set. Tell me about your film background and like what got you into it?
Yeah. So I went to UGA for film and anthropology, and I graduated in 2018, so it's about 6 years ago from now. And I think I've always had an interest in storytelling and photography and documentary, and just like building up stories and just being creative. Like when I was younger, I would always have a little camera in my hand, whether it was the home camcorder or it was my own little like point and shoot camera. And I've always been interested in that, and I was thankful enough to go to school for it and learned a little bit about it. And I don't know, I love film because I love building up stories and I love hearing them. And whether that's documentary or narrative or music video or anything like that, it's just, I think it helps you get out of your own environment and out of your own head, and it helps you learn more about people. And that's what's exciting to me. And it's also a great space for playing and having fun and being creative and thinking of things that are outside of the box. So I've always been interested in stories and working with people, and yeah, that's kind of my background, going to UGA and learning how to work with the camera and yeah, just working with great people like you guys.
And you over time, were you just doing different roles on sets? Like, what initially drew you specifically to camera team? Had you worked in other areas?
Yeah. I dabbled a little bit in script supervisor, which is someone who on set will help make sure, you're following along with the script, the lines, making sure everyone has all the right props, making sure there's continuity. So I've done script supervisor before.
Yeah, we saw that come out during the late game shoot, but I think it frustrated you at times that we were very often going off script.
Yeah, because there are times when it's like you'll cue the next person. It'll cue the next thing that needs to be said. So sometimes that's hard. But yeah, I've been a script supervisor once or twice before. I helped with, I think, props one time. I've done set design and set deck before. I really love that. And I think if I wasn't a camera, I think I would do set design. But because I've always loved taking photos and filming and having really interesting home videos with my sisters and my neighbors, I've just always loved creating stories. So even when I was on set, kind of dabbling in other departments, I knew, at least for now, camera is something that I want to keep pursuing.
Was there a movie or anyone in particular growing up that really got you to change your thoughts, like made storytelling more attractive, or just even spawned the idea that you could do that as a job?
That's a really good question. I think I've always loved shows, and I grew up watching a lot of like Bob Ross and Zaboomafoo and little shows like that, a little more educational, and I think that's where the anthropology side comes in, because I love art and culture and animals and all of that. But I think growing up, some films that were pretty influential, I think some of the first ones I can think of were, and it's a little controversial just because it's not accurate with the books, but Series of Unfortunate Events. For some reason, I love that movie. It's not accurate to all of the books, but I think the way that they told the story, and I think the acting in it and the movie score, I've always really loved movie scores. I think something about Series of Unfortunate Events, that movie, just looking at it objectively, really was just so creative and so kooky and so just out of the box in regards to the story and the acting. And yeah, I think that's probably one of my first influential films that I've ever seen. And I think some others just kind of build on that. So.
And you and I have actually been able to collaborate on a second project. While I wasn't able to be on set, unfortunately, for the short L8 from writer, director, and star Jillian Rabin.
Yes, yeah, she killed it.
And you were the cinematographer, right?
I was. Yeah, I believe that was about a year and a half ago. Yeah, like I said, I've been a camera assistant for a while now, and I've segued into being a full-time freelance camera operator. And last year I was kind of dipping my toes in to that transition time, going from assistant to camera operator, and I had a great, we call him a supervising DP, supervising cinematographer, Brian Ray, who is just phenomenal. I love him. But I met Jillian a few years ago working with kids at a theater camp. And she and I always hit it off, and she told me about this project, L8, and it was about, pro-choice and women's rights and all of that stuff. And
yeah, I mean, you brought that to me, and I thought it was really powerful and important, and I thought Jillian had a really good vision for it, and she, seemed like a great person and great actor and great director, and really had her pieces put together and was clearly determined to get it done. And for me, it was just like a story that feels like it will be impactful to be out there. I certainly think women should have the right to choose what they do with their body, and so I wasn't ashamed to be a part of that at all. And I was thankful to have the opportunity to be executive producer. And for anyone listening that's interested, she was on my podcast, People Are the Answer. Jillian was on episode 84.
Yes, yeah, she's such a treat to work with, and yeah, we're so thankful that you got involved. And I was hesitant at first because we'd only met during the late game, and I knew you wouldn't hesitate to help out. So I was nervous, but I was like, I was very proud that you were part of the project. So
yeah, absolutely. And we'll try to link to that in the show notes. And also, don't you play music? Right, I was going to ask about that.
I I try. I mean, I can sing sometimes.
I think Tyler's the one that told me to ask you that.
Oh my God, he's probably teasing me a little bit. I like to play guitar. It's not great, but I like to sing and be expressive, and that's all I got. So, yeah.
No, I like to do that stuff as well. Like, I took singing classes for a little while, and it was really fun. I didn't really have time for it, but I definitely want to dive in more. And I know there's a handful of us on the Late Game cast and crew that are interested in pursuing music. So, a lot of us have been joking about the Late Game band. So we'll see.
Yes. I will do lead vocals. I will do harmonies. I'll do whatever you need.
Maybe like co-vocals, because I definitely want in on that. But
right, for sure.
Do some harmonies,
Okay, let's do it, baby.
Okay, so the last thing I wanted to ask you about the Late Game. Do you have any like standout memories or moments from set?
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so hard. Some standout moments. I want to say I do. I probably have a handful, but I don't, because I just every day was a different challenge. Every day was just a good day to work with your friends, and people becoming your friends, and a good opportunity to just get better from the day before. And I guess some standout moments were, I don't know. I think some standout moments were us just like having so much fun. Like, we would get stuff done, and get all the lines right, and get everything covered. And I think some standout moments were moments of us just playing around and being goofy. I know there were some moments with Rizzo, and just him and his co-partner, or not partner, his other, what was his character's name?
Rizzo's character is Hubie.
Yeah, I'll tell you my go-to Rachel memory would be after the all-nighter. We went to Waffle House, and you gave me a bit of your pecan waffle, and then you go, "Wait, you're not allergic to nuts, are you?" And I just give you a goof face like I was, and you, for like 1 second, truly panicked. That was a lot of fun.
Yes. Oh my God, I forgot about that. And we were all so sleep deprived. So
Yeah, it was the best. Well, it's always fun to reminisce, and we also hope to make future projects together. We'll certainly keep you posted on what we're working on, and would love for you to do the same.
Yeah, I would love that as well. I mean, y'all are my boys, and when we have the premiere in the spring this year, and just seeing it on the screen in the hockey rink, I started tearing up, because I was like, these are my guys, these are all my friends, and we worked so hard, and that was such a beautiful moment, post-production and for the premiere and all that. Just having that moment in front of a random audience was really special and really beautiful, and I cried a little bit, because I was just so proud, and I'm definitely ready to make the next one with you guys for sure.
I definitely teared up on our cast and crew screening. That was the best audience to do it the first time with. That was awesome.
That was the most like swollen with pride in a good way that I've ever felt.
Absolutely. Yeah. I felt like a proud mom. I was like, these are all my children.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us for a little bit. And we look forward to whatever you do next.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so thankful to have worked with y'all and to continue to catch up with you guys. And I'm proud of y'all and I'm proud of everybody still making this happen. We still have so much work to do and still spreading the word about the late game and still advertising it and still letting people know about it.
Glad to have you. Couldn't have done it without you.
Hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Rachel as much as we did. It was really awesome catching up with her.
Yeah, just nothing but smiles. Would have liked to even talk more, but we'll have future conversations with her.
Yes, absolutely. Hopefully work on more projects together in the future. And then for our second one today, we've got Stephen Barnes, the founder of Hockey Unlimited. You can find out more information about them at hockeyunlimited.org, an awesome organization that helps underprivileged kids play hockey. It's an awesome sport, but an expensive sport. And it's something I've always been passionate about and, connected with Stephen early on in his process. And we were thankful to get the opportunity for the late game to sponsor his 3-on-3 tournament. And we will also be sponsoring his upcoming golf tournament fundraiser that is on September 30th. And here is Stephen with more info on Hockey Unlimited. Bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. Lines and odds are available on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023, all rights reserved. Stephen, good to see you. How are things?
Things are good. Yeah.
So you have this incredible organization, Hockey Unlimited. Tell me what the organization does.
Hockey Unlimited is a nonprofit that was started 5 years ago to get lower income and underprivileged kids into hockey. So we support them playing hockey at whatever association they play at, whether it's a rink closest to their house or a little bit further away. We support them by helping them with their team dues, their league fees, hockey equipment as well, which is a big concern and a big investment, and private coaching, camps, clinics. So we do try to provide the opportunity for them to be able to play hockey and be competitive at hockey as well.
Awesome. I mean, it's such a great cause. And ever since I was little and started playing hockey, it's always been important to me to try to help other people get into it. And I know it's, high barriers to entry. It's an expensive sport to get into, but once you get on the ice, it's just so incredible. And I'm sure that's something that you've gotten to see firsthand.
I have. I've been able to see how it affects the kids that play and how it affects the parents being able to provide that for the kids that they wouldn't have been able to provide that otherwise. And for a lot of the kids in the program, it's therapy for them. It's something that they need, being able to get away from maybe some of the problems that they're facing and get on the ice for a few hours a day or a few hours a week in order to get better at something and have that team camaraderie and being able to go and hang out with their friends.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible how much hockey can bring people together. And with the late game, that was certainly something, we were trying to showcase, is that, it's not just about playing hockey, and it's about the team and the family that you sort of create and the friends that you meet. And, that can start at a young age.
Oh yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I started Hockey Unlimited. I didn't get a chance to play hockey when I was a kid. I didn't know what hockey was till I was 16. I went to my best friend. I grew up in California. I said, "Hey, who's this Wayne Gretzky guy?" I was all excited about. At the time, the Kings had Wayne Gretzky for about 2 years at that point. And he's like, "You didn't know who Wayne Gretzky is?" I'm like, "Dude, I have no idea." He's like, "We have to go to Canada for Christmas." So the first time I played hockey was on a pond in Canada. My face froze in a smile. I fell in love with the sport. On our way home, he said, "You have to pick a team." And so I did my research and I picked the Boston Bruins. The first black hockey player in the NHL played for the Boston Bruins, Willie O'Ree, number 22. And so then I saved up and I bought my own hockey equipment. And I went to my mom and said, "Hey, I want to play hockey." And she said, "I did the research and I can't afford for you to play hockey, but I can get you into 2 different ice hockey clinics." So I did those 2 hockey clinics, and that was the end of my hockey career. And then we fast forward to me being an adult and playing on an adult hockey team. And it was such an amazing experience. I loved it, and I wanted that for everybody. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it have been cool if I could have played hockey as a kid? How much better would I be now? And that's what I wanted to make sure that kids have that opportunity to have those experiences and make those lifelong friends through hockey.
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible thing to be able to provide. And you mentioned, you took those clinics, and then you kind of had to take time off. How long was the gap between that and when you hit the ice again?
Sheesh. 16 when I did the hockey clinics. And then, gosh, I didn't start playing hockey, organized hockey, till about in my 30s.
Wow. Yeah, so quite the break. What drew you back to it in that time of your life?
It's weird. And I don't really tell many people this. This is we're just going on a podcast. There was a period of time where every about 6 months or so, I'd have to go to an ice rink and smell the ice. No, and I wasn't like going in the rink and like getting super close and smelling the ice, but just walk into an ice rink and there's a smell, not the hockey kid smell, but the smell of the ice, and that's what kept drawing me back to it. And I loved the sport. I loved watching it. I loved, I do inline a little bit, and not organized inline. It was my buddy and I skating over to the local college that had an outdoor inline rink, and we would just mess around out there. So I had never lined up to play hockey, played organized hockey. So it was something that kept drawing me back. And I didn't realize at the time how important it was going to be in my life until later on.
Yeah. When did that hit you, that you realized, like, this isn't just a fun thing I'm trying out, it's actually like a meaningful part of my existence now?
I had been playing hockey for probably about maybe a year or 2 years at this point, and I kept asking myself, what makes you happy? Like, what's your happiness? What makes you happy? And once you really ask yourself that question and you kind of dig down deep as to what truly makes you happy, I was working about 60 to 80 hours a week at the point, and my Thursday nights was going to a hockey clinic as an adult, and I truly got excited and happy about that. And that's when I realized, like, man, hockey is my happy place. And that's when, things start kind of falling in perspective for you. I was like, well, this makes me happy doing this. How can I help others to do this? How can I spread that happiness?
Yeah, that's awesome. Certainly something we can relate to. And I know that, the fun and the love and the passion around hockey's part certainly came in to Tyner's head when starting the late game and starting the process of creating it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, speaking just to the smell of the rink, I 100% get that. Like, the rinks have a smell, and it always takes me to a happy place too.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And certainly, some of the element we're trying to bring in with the movie, just kind of sharing the joy of hockey. And I love that concept and that you were so driven around it. And so tell me about the actual founding of Hockey Unlimited and how that organization came about.
It was August of 2019, and I was going for my level 4 hockey coaching certification down in Colorado Springs. And they had a speaker. His name was Tyler Newberry. And I had thought about starting something to help kids get into hockey, but I didn't have anything defined. I didn't know any of the parameters. I didn't know, how to move forward with that. It's just something I kind of wanted to do. It was like a a drive that was inside of me, but I didn't have any of the parameters yet or the direction. And this guy, Tyler Newberry, was from Washington, D.C. He ran a rink out there, Fort DuPont, and they have a program where they get kids into hockey, figure skating, and speed skating, and for free. And it's just, if you're low income, you're in the program. And they had many other programs as well, but those are the three that I focused on the most. And he was talking about his program. He was answering questions from the crowd, and I just felt he was talking to me. It was really weird. I mean, I had literally thought, okay, I'm going to do this, but I don't know how to do it. And then he's one of the speakers for level 4 hockey coaching certification through USA Hockey. And he's talking about his programs of getting lower income kids into hockey. I'm like, wow, well, that's perfect. So as soon as he's done talking, I run up to him and I go talk to him and ask him all these questions. And I told him, hey, I'm thinking about starting a program out here. And then you spoke about it. And I had all these questions. And he was super supportive about starting the program here in Colorado, and answered a lot of my questions, all my questions that I had. And he's been a super great resource for me to rely on if I have questions. It's been 5 years now, so I've got it under my belt pretty well, and just trying to further the cause, just one person at a time, one step at a time, one organization at a time.
How has the organization and your vision for it evolved in those 5 years? I'm sure you've learned an incredible amount.
I have, and it's a learning curve, right? So it's the story of each of the kids in the program, being able to convey the story of each of the kids' struggles without getting too personal, without getting too deep as to what their personal struggles and their personal issues are, but understanding that people need to understand and see that it's not monochromatic. It's we're reaching lives of these kids and their parents in order to help them to grow and experience life in a different way. We're breaking down financial barriers, but if you're financially struggling, it doesn't matter what race, creed, religion, sexual preference you are. I mean, anybody and everybody can be affected by struggling financially. And so that's what I don't think some people understand, is that we don't care what you are. If you're low income and you are accepted into the Hockey Unlimited program, you're accepted into a Hockey Unlimited family. And we work with you and try to do the best we can in order to get your kid on the ice, as well as helping you out in other aspects, providing a support system. Being a hockey parent is not easy. There's a lot of things that are involved. I know you know firsthand, Jeff, of just from growing up in it. Yeah. And then it's a lot. It's a huge commitment. It's a huge time commitment. It's a huge money commitment. And it just being there for the parents and being there for the kids. So it's not just hockey. It's a lot bigger than that. So giving them the confidence to do more than hockey. I hear stories all the time. You know, I didn't have friends until I played hockey. And you think that, wait, what do you mean? Well, you know, for instance, one of the kids was an introvert. Obviously, they're still an introvert, but they came out of their shell in school because of hockey, because they found something that they were good at. And it gave them the confidence to come out of their shell and talk to people and have conversations with people that they normally wouldn't. So it's just little things like that. It grows, and it makes these kids better people to go out in life and do things and have the confidence to do things. And hey, I did this when I was a kid, when I was a peewee, so I know I can do this as a bantam or as a 16U. So it's huge. And then seeing a lot of that in the late game as well. I mean, the guy had been away from hockey for a while, and he came back, and he had those reservations about going back. And you see a lot of that in real life hockey. You see it every day. So watching the movie, you watch the movie, and like certain people in the movie, there's certain characters in the movie, you're like, I know that guy. I know a guy just like that. I played with him 2 years ago with that one hockey team, you know. So it was cool to see that and see the connections through real hockey in your movie, The Late Game.
Yeah, I mean, appreciate that, because that's definitely model, I wrote Riley as me to begin with, and we wrote for 3 years. So it's that growth, from taking a big break off to we're about to make the movie, and I've been on 2 beer league teams for 3 years now, and it's like I feel like I barely even recognize this character that I kind of modeled after myself back then. So it's interesting. You find I said it before, you find the right locker room, the right group of guys, and it just all falls together, and it's just such a warm environment when you find the right guys.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. And with Hockey Unlimited, can you just kind of walk me through the process of someone that is looking to play through the organization?
Absolutely. So we have a process where you submit an application, and we have application deadlines. After the application deadline has passed, then we make decisions on. We have a committee that makes decisions on who gets accepted in the Hockey Unlimited program. We have algorithms that we use to look at the finances. We have conversations with the parents about any questions that we have had that wasn't answered in the application or that didn't have enough information in the application. We have the kids through the application process write why they want to play hockey with Hockey Unlimited and how it'll affect their lives. And they may not know that at that point, right? And the parents may not know that yet. It's something that some of the applications are, my kids never played hockey before and they'd love to try it, or they're moving over from inline, or my kids played hockey for the last 3 years, absolutely loves it, but I lost my job and I can't afford it. So there's situations where I know multiple families inside and outside of Hockey Unlimited that at one point or another, they were fine financially. They were okay. They could pay for everything. I mean, it might have been a sacrifice. Like, well, we can't eat out for the next 2 weeks because we got to pay for this thing, but it wasn't dire. And by running Hockey Unlimited, I've seen several people that were fine at one point, and then now they need help. And it's one of those situations, like I said earlier, it doesn't matter who you are. You could start financially struggling next month, or in 2 years from now. You never know. And it's such a sensitive topic. We try to be very respectful about the privacy that comes with something that painful in some cases. So as we're reviewing applications, we're looking at what their past looks like, what their background looks like, and how Hockey Unlimited can help them. So we go down the list. So for instance, this year we had 15 applicants, but we only had 10 spots. So even if you're in the Hockey Unlimited program, you have to re-up. So you have to create another application every year. And we go through the process painstaking and do the best we can to help as many as we can. Now, from my perspective, from Hockey Unlimited's perspective, we would absolutely love to help all 15 people, all 15 applicants. Everybody who applies, we'd absolutely love to be able to help them out. But we know that, we're working within our budget in order to help the players that we can help.
Yeah, doing everything you can. And, right now in Colorado, in the Denver area, is this something that you foresee expanding here to, where you raise more to be able to let all 15 in? Or is it something you hope to expand to other places? Are you open to all of it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely open to all of it. We would love to get to a point where we have 50 kids, we have 100 kids applying for Hockey Unlimited support, and we're able to take all 50, able to take all 100. We're able to run in all 50 states. We're able to get thousands of kids into hockey every year and keep them in hockey and keep them growing and expanding and getting better at hockey, because we provide stipends as well. So for camps, clinics, and private coaching, for recreational players, we provide a stipend, which means that they can utilize that stipend in order to do private coaching, camps, and clinics for free for them out of pocket. And then we double that for travel players. So we know that travel players are hungry and they would sleep on the ice if they could. So we always try to provide them the most benefit they can. And if you're a recreational player and you just want to play hockey, practice 1 day a week and then the games 1 or 2 days a week, and that's all you want, you don't want to do private coaching, that's perfectly fine too, because we know how important it is for you, and we know how important it is for your life. So absolutely. But if you want to improve, hey, I don't want to play rec anymore, I want to play travel. Okay, this is the path. This is what you have to do. Here's a couple of coaches you can work with. Here's some camps and clinics you can go to, and it's all included.
That's awesome. So it sounds like the organization provides kind of advice on the path that you want to take based on your goals.
Yeah, there's coaches that work with Hockey Unlimited directly and indirectly for that matter, and we are always trying to get back as much as possible. I mean, if a coach reaches out to us and says, hey, we want to coach for Hockey Unlimited, we want to help out some of the kids in your program, who do you have in this age group? And we get that. We actually get that. Coaches will reach out and say, hey, I'm running a clinic this Saturday. I'm doing 14Us and 16Us at this age level and this skill level. Do you have any kids in your program that can come out to our camp? And yeah, we've got 2 that are 14U that are of that skill that can make it. What time do you want them there? And that happens all the time, where we try to provide, and because it's no cost. Let's say, for instance, that camp would have normally been $400 for that weekend, but they're like, no, we're comping it for them. They don't have to pay. That doesn't come out of their stipend. So now they're able to do even more with hockey and through hockey. So it's just one of the things where once people learn more about the program, hopefully people want to get more involved. And the coaches that we do know that are involved are super awesome. And we try to give back as much as possible. So we may know, 6 or 7 other kids that are of that age group or of that skill level. And we're like, hey, is it okay if we reach out to them to see if they want to take your class or your clinic? And they're like, yeah, sure. We've got 4 open spots. So we reach out to those parents and say, hey, there's a camp that's going on. It's $400 for the weekend. Do you want to go? Your kid would be great for it. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we try to help them out as much as possible and incentivize other parents that we know to attend.
I love that. And I just, really appreciate the work that you guys are doing and opening up these opportunities for kids, because, yeah, you don't really understand how great hockey is until you're on the ice. And, how do you guys, I know you do some events, like how do you generally raise money? I know you've got some cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, we do fundraising events as much as possible. So we've had our skills clinic. Actually, the one that we did this year in 2024 was a 2-day skills clinic. We did 6 skills camps in 2 days. That was a lot of work. We had multiple coaches come out and run the different clinics for us. Trying to give the kids different exposure to different coaches. So not just the kids in the Hockey Limited program, but basically every parent that we know that has a kid that plays hockey, we reach out to them and saying, hey, we have a camp going on. And this year we did 10U to 18U. So we had checking, we had shooting and passing, we had skating, we had edge work, so the different coaches chose what they wanted to teach. And they had the ice for 2 hours, and the suggestion was an hour and a half skills and drills and a 30-minute scrimmage, and they broke it up however they wanted. And it's funny because I didn't expect this. Our biggest turnout was our 10Us, and I don't have any 10Us. Like I don't know any 10Us, so it was really cool to see the community come together, the hockey community come together, and reach out to different people. It's like, hey, I know Bob. He has a kid that's 10U. Why don't we come check this out? And I didn't know Bob, but other people did, and that was really touching for me to be able to see the different coaches reach out to parents, the parents reach out to other parents, and pulling together the hockey network and the hockey community. So it was great to see. We have our biggest fundraiser of the year coming up, September 30th at Black Bear and Parker is our golf tournament, our 4th annual golf tournament. And it's been growing every year. And so this year we're excited because we have, golf ball air cannon at one of the holes. We have a lot of our good sponsors coming out and that have been with us over the years, that have sponsored different events over the years, sponsoring us again this year. So just getting the word out, talking to people about golf and about the work that we do in order to get more kids on the ice. And the better the golf tournament does, the better we can do, the more kids we can get on the ice next year.
Yeah, it's exciting. And we're Late Game is excited to sponsor the event and have a foursome out and bring some cast members there. So hopefully people will come check it out and can come meet some people from the Late Game, as well as, all you guys that are doing the incredible work out there.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun to watch the cast members from the Late Game come out and golf with us. I think it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, and I know, unfortunately, we didn't get to defend our title this year, but Tyner and I were on a team last year in your 3-on-3 tournament, and that we won.
Yeah, but this year, the players that you
Bo Skaggs came and
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
represented the late game, yeah, and they
and
won.
won
Yep,
the tournament. Yeah, so in a way, you still defended your title.
I'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, of course, this guy is, recommends this guy to play in the tournament, and you guys end up winning the tournament in an overtime shootout too. So it wasn't like you guys just walked in and like beat every team. You guys went to, or your team went to overtime. It was a 3-round overtime shootout, and then it went, I think, 5 more rounds after that, and it was stressful for us, and we were watching it, let alone the players that were on the ice. So the blue team and the pink team, excellent game, great camaraderie. And I just love to see it. It was great to watch. I mean, it was a really good showcase.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun, and we're excited for them. So, if people that are listening are in the Denver area and they're interested in going to the golf tournament, should they go to your website, hockeyunlimited.org?
Absolutely, yeah. www.hockeyunlimited.org. You can buy. We have a shirt for sale as well. Our 5th anniversary Hockey Limited shirt for sale on the website. We also have sign up for registration for the golf tournament as a sponsor or as a golfer or a foursome or a twosome. You can do that too. And, there's also sponsorship opportunities too. So, and it's not unreasonable. And so just about anybody could be a sponsor if they want. So any support is helpful too. And if you want to do donations through the site, that's available too. If you want to read about the kids in the program, we have profiles on each of the kids in the program on the site. And any questions you have, reach out through the site or send me an email. I'm more than happy to work with anybody if they have questions about Hockey Limited, or if they want to know more about Hockey Limited, if they want to sponsor something, if they want to do a fundraising event for Hockey Limited. I'm open to that. If you play hockey, we do a weekly scrimmage at Foothills as well, Saturday nights. So reach out to me through the site, or reach out to me if you have any information, and get on the list. We use BenchApp. We have over 500 people on our list to come out to the different scrimmages. Obviously, we cap it at 22 skaters and 4 goalies, and we go as long as the goalies want to go. So we'll get a good hour and a half to 2 hours in for a low $20 donation, which is pretty cool. And we have fun. And we invite Bantam travel players to come out. So it's a pretty fast skate. And if you're an adult and you're learning how to play and you don't have a problem with, being or skating with a bunch of kids that are younger than you, or a bunch of players that are younger than you and that might be better than you, come on out. Don't feel intimidated. It's a good group of people that come out and play hockey. So we have fun out there.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to be part of and to help you guys grow, and for us to witness and just do whatever we can to help support your work, because I think it's really, really important.
Oh, absolutely. And I got a chance to go to the premiere of Late Game, and I had a blast. There was, like I said, I can't remember if I said earlier, but there's a couple times where I saw some characters that I'm like, I know that guy. The one in particular was the guy's doing slap shots, and the net was like 4 feet away, and he's like, "I'm working on my heater, dude." I was cracking up, dude. I was on the floor. I was like, I know that guy. I know that guy.
That is real life Kevin, for sure.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, certainly we've found that hockey players can very much relate to it. People that play other rec sports, and otherwise. But it's been really cool to hear the response from the hockey community.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's good stuff. Yeah,
we really appreciate it. And we thank you for joining us. Thanks for your partnership. We're really excited for the upcoming Hockey Unlimited golf tournament. We'll make sure to include all the various links in the show notes. And excited to see you soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys have been great. I appreciate the support. The Late Game was a sponsor for the Hockey Limited's 3v3 this year, Battle of the Beasts. And then you ended up winning the title again this year. So next year, I might have to put together an adult upper team to challenge you guys for the title.
Let's do it.
I like it. Yeah. I got to get that on my calendar whenever it's available so I can make sure to be there this year.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, Steven.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, guys.